The day had started peacefully, the kind of quiet morning that didn't warn anyone about what was waiting on the road ahead. Emma Reed had been driving for almost 2 hours, and the open highway stretched endlessly in front of her. Warm late afternoon sunlight spilled through the windshield, turning everything gold. Her stepson, Tyler, sat beside her, long legs folded, headphones around his neck, though no music was playing. He kept glancing out the window, lost in his own world. As if the sky held answers he'd been needing for years. The silence between them wasn't unfriendly. But it was heavy, like two people trying not to disturb something fragile. Since her husband Tyler's father had passed away 2 years ago. Conversations had become shorter, smiles rarer, and moments together filled with words they never said. Emma had tried to reach him again and again, but every attempt felt like talking through a locked door. Tyler had changed, hardened, grown distant. She understood why, but not how to fix it. She was about to speak, to ask if he wanted something to eat, when the car made a strange clicking sound. It was small at first, just enough to make her eyebrows rise. Then came a louder clunk, followed by a dip in speed. The steering wheel felt heavier, and the air inside the car tightened. "Tyler, you hear that?" she asked, sitting straighter. He pulled off his headphones. "Yeah, that doesn't sound good." Before she could even respond, the dashboard lights flickered. The engine coughed, trembled, and then slowly lost power, as if exhaling its last breath. Emma guided the car toward the shoulder, her heart beating faster, trying to stay calm. The car rolled to a reluctant stop. She turned the key, again nothing. Tyler got out immediately, lifting the hood. Heat rushed toward him, warm enough to push him a step back. "Battery's dead," he said after a moment. "Might be the alternator too." "Not sure." Emma stepped out, hugging her arms against the breeze. The highway looked peaceful, almost too peaceful, with only the distant sound of cars rushing by. There were no shops, no houses, just land and sky. "Perfect," she muttered under her breath. "Just perfect." They called roadside assistance and waited. The sun dipped lower and shadows stretched across the asphalt. Emma felt the sinking truth settle in. They weren't going home tonight, when the tow truck finally came. The driver examined the car and told them the nearest repair shop wouldn't have parts until morning. Nothing else could be done. "There's a small hotel a mile down," the driver said. "Not fancy, but safe. People stay there often when cars break down." Tyler glanced at Emma, and she could see the frustration in his eyes. Not at her, just at life. At bad timing. At everything they never talked about. He grabbed their overnight bag from the back seat. "Let's go. No point standing here." They walked the short distance to the hotel, their footsteps crunching on gravel. The sign blinked in slow, tired pulses, "Pine Ridge in vacancy." The building was old, with faded paint and a quiet stillness that suggested it had seen too many. Travelers passed through without a second glance. Inside. The lobby smelled faintly of lemon cleaner and old magazines. A young woman at the front desk gave them a sympathetic smile when she heard their situation. She handed over a key, a map of the building, and pointed them toward their room. As they walked down the narrow hallway, Emma felt the walls pressing in. She wasn't afraid, just aware of how unusual this moment was. They rarely spent time alone together. And staying in a hotel, just the two of them, felt like stepping into a place where the past might finally catch up. Their room was simple. 2 beds, a small table, a TV that looked older than Tyler, and a humming AC unit. The moment they walked in, Emma sat on one bed, releasing a long breath she didn't realize she was holding. "Well, this is where we are tonight," she said softly. Tyler placed the bag on the chair. "Could be worse," he replied, though his tone carried something deeper, something tired. For a moment, neither spoke. The gentle buzz of the AC was the only sound filling the space. Emma looked at him, noticing details she hadn't slowed down to see in months. The way he fidgeted with the zipper of the bag, the quiet tension in his shoulders, the shadows under his eyes. He looked older than 22, not in age, but in weight carried too early. She wanted to say something comforting, something small to soften the silence. But before she could, Tyler surprised her. "Emma, can we talk?" he asked, sitting on the chair across from her. Her breath caught. "Talk," she repeated, unsure. He nodded, looking down at his hands. "Yeah, I know we don't do that much anymore." She felt her heart shift, a slow, careful movement. "We can talk about anything you want." He swallowed. "I know, or at least, I used to know that." A pause stretched between them long enough for the old grief to make itself known again. "I've been mad," Tyler admitted, his voice low. "Not at you. At life. At how everything changed after he died." Emma felt a sting behind her eyes. She kept her voice steady. "I know. I felt it too. But I didn't know what to do with that anger," he continued. "And instead of dealing with it, I just pulled away. From everyone, especially you." Emma looked down, fingers twisting nervously. "I didn't want to push you. I wanted to give you space. I thought maybe you needed time." "Maybe I did," he said. But then space turned into distance, and distance turned into feeling like strangers. Hearing the word strangers broke her heart in a way she wasn't prepared for. She blinked away the ache. "I never wanted that, Tyler," she whispered. "I was scared too. I didn't know how to help you heal, and I didn't want to say the wrong thing." He looked at her finally, really looked at her, and she saw the truth in his eyes, pain mixed with something tender, something hopeful. "I think tonight, being stuck here, maybe it's a chance to fix things," he said. "I want us to stop being people who talk around the pain." Emma nodded slowly, feeling warmth spread through her chest. "I want that too." Just then, a loud knock hit the door, sharp enough to make them both jump. Tyler stood immediately, stepping toward the entrance as if ready to confront whatever was on the other side. Emma followed, her heartbeat quickening. Tyler opened the door, and for a split second, everything felt tense, suspended, but it was only the hotel clerk, an older man holding a folded blanket. He offered an apologetic smile. "Sorry to bother you. The heat tends to get unpredictable in this wing at night. Thought you might need an extra blanket?" Tyler let out a soft laugh, the tension melting from his shoulders. "Thanks. Appreciate it." The man nodded and left. Tyler closed the door. The interruption broke the heaviness in the room. Letting the air move again, they exchanged a small, almost shy smile. For the first time in a long while. It felt like they were standing on the same side of something instead of opposite corners. Emma sat again, this time pulling the blanket into her lap, grounding herself. Tyler sat on the bed across from her, closer than before, elbows on his knees. The silence that followed wasn't painful, it was expectant, filled with possibility for the first time in years. Emma felt something inside her shift toward hope. This broken car, this unexpected night, this old hotel, it all seemed less like an inconvenience and more like a pause life had forced on them. A pause they desperately needed. A night where walls finally cracked, just enough for the truth to breathe. And somewhere deep inside, Emma sensed that when morning came, nothing between them would ever be the same again. The room felt quiet after the hotel clerk left. The hum of the air conditioner was the only sound. A soft background to the thoughts racing through both Emma and Tyler. Neither of them spoke at first. The knock had broken the tension slightly, but the weight of unspoken words still hung in the room like a heavy curtain. Emma sat on the edge of her bed, folding her hands in her lap, trying to gather her thoughts. Tyler stayed on the chair across from her, staring at the floor, hands clasped tightly together. The atmosphere was awkward, but there was something fragile and hopeful beneath it. Finally, Tyler spoke, his voice low and uncertain. I've been thinking, Emma, about everything. About Dad. About us. About how we drifted apart." Emma nodded, her throat tight. "Me too," she said. "I've been holding back for so long. Because I didn't know how to reach you. I thought giving you space was helping, but maybe it just made things worse." He looked up then, eyes softening. "It did make things worse. I felt alone. I felt like no one could understand me. Emma's heart ached at his words. She could feel the weight of the past years pressing down. Years of grief and distance, of half-said apologies and moments lost. "I never wanted that," she whispered. "I wanted to help, but I didn't know how. I didn't want to hurt you with words I couldn't take back." Tyler shifted in his chair, letting out a long breath. "I know you didn't. And I know I pushed you away too. I guess I just got scared. Scared of feeling sad, scared of being hurt again." Emma reached out her hand, stopping short of touching him, unsure if he wanted contact. He glanced at her hand, hesitated, then nodded slightly. She felt tears prick her eyes. "I get it," she said. "I've been scared too. Scared that I'd say the wrong thing. Scared that I couldn't fix what's broken." For a moment, silence fell again. But this time it was calm. Not the heavy, suffocating silence of before, but the quiet that comes when two people are slowly starting to understand each other. Tyler finally leaned back, letting his shoulders relax. "You know," he said softly, "I've missed this. I've missed talking with you." "Really talking?" Emma smiled faintly, a small light breaking through the lingering sadness. "I've missed it too. I didn't realize how much I missed it until now." He chuckled quietly, a sound that was both hesitant and relieved. "Funny how life makes you take a detour to remind you what you've been missing." Emma nodded, feeling a warmth spreading through her chest. This night, forced upon them by a broken car and a hotel stay, had opened a door she hadn't expected. A door to connection, to understanding, to rebuilding something that had been fragile for far too long. They moved closer to the small table in the center of the room, each of them sitting across from one another. Tyler picked up the hotel-provided blanket, folding it neatly, and placed it on his lap. "Remember Dad's stories about the road trips we used to take?" he asked. His voice was lighter now, the weight of the earlier tension easing. Emma laughed softly, nodding. "How could I forget? He always had a way of making every trip feel like an adventure, even when we got lost or ran out of gas." Tyler smiled, the kind of smile that reached his eyes. "Yeah, he taught me to see the good even in the bad. I guess I forgot that for a while." Emma leaned forward, her hands resting on the table. "We both forgot. But maybe this is our chance to remember together." Tyler nodded, his expression thoughtful. "I want that, Emma. I really do." The room seemed warmer somehow, not just because of the heater humming softly, but because of the change in the air between them. The walls that had felt so high and impenetrable before were now just shadows, slowly shrinking. For the first time in a long while, there were no longer two people existing in the same house. Careful to avoid conflict or emotion, they were two people connecting. Really connecting. Emma took a deep breath, feeling the courage she hadn't had for years. "I think we need to talk more. Not just tonight, but all the time, even when it's hard." Tyler's eyes met hers, serious and sincere. "I want that too. I want to stop hiding behind silence." For hours they talked. They spoke about Tyler's classes, the stress he had been carrying, the moments of doubt and fear that had built up over the past months. Emma shared her own worries, her loneliness since losing her husband, and the guilt she had felt trying to balance being a mother figure with respecting his space. Each word, each story peeled away another layer of misunderstanding. Each laugh, each sigh, built a bridge where there had once been a chasm. They shared memories of Tyler's father, stories they had kept private, moments of joy and humor that had been overshadowed by grief. They talked about the future, about what they hoped to accomplish, about small dreams that had seemed impossible when life had felt heavier. The conversation flowed naturally, the kind that can only happen when two people are finally ready to listen without judgment, to speak without fear. At one point, Tyler got quiet, staring out the window at the darkened landscape. Emma followed his gaze. "What are you thinking?" she asked softly. "About everything," he said. "About how much I've missed." "Well, everything. And how tonight feels like a second chance, even though it's just one night in a hotel." Emma's heart tightened. She understood perfectly. Sometimes life forced moments like this, unexpected, inconvenient, but essential. moments that reminded you what really mattered. She reached out, touching his arm gently, a gesture of connection, not intrusion. Tyler looked at her, a flicker of gratitude and relief in his eyes, and nodded. They spent the rest of the night talking and laughing, sometimes quietly, sometimes loudly, sometimes just sitting in comfortable silence. The hotel room, once foreign and confining, became a space of healing, of rediscovery, of trust. Each conversation, each shared memory, built a foundation stronger than they had realized they were missing. As midnight approached, they realized how tired they were, but neither wanted to rush to bed. Sleep could wait for now. They had reclaimed something far more important, a connection they thought lost. Finally, Tyler yawned and stretched. "I guess we should try to sleep," he said, smiling. "Big day tomorrow. Repair shop back on the road. Reality calling." Emma laughed quietly. "Reality will wait a little longer," she said. "Tonight. Let's just enjoy this moment." They prepared for bed side by side, but respectful of space, feeling a sense of comfort they hadn't known in years. The soft hum of the air conditioner, the distant sounds of passing cars, the quiet walls of the hotel, they all became part of a cocoon, a safe place where they could rebuild what had been broken. Emma lay awake for a while, thinking about the night. She reflected on how fragile life was, how easily connections could be lost if not tended to. She felt grateful for this small accident, for this broken car, for this hotel, because without it, she might not have had the chance to reach Tyler in a way she had longed to. Tyler, to lay awake, staring at the ceiling. He thought about his mother, his father, the past mistakes, the lost words, the moments of silence that had grown heavier than any words could carry. He felt a lightness now, a relief that came from honesty, from being seen, from finally letting someone in. He realized that the night wasn't just a pause in their journey, it was a turning point when morning finally came. They didn't rush to leave. The sunlight filtered through the thin curtains, soft and forgiving. The world outside carried on as usual, but inside their hotel room, everything had changed. They packed their things slowly, sharing small smiles, quiet jokes, and lingering glances that spoke of newfound understanding as they returned to the car, ready to face the repair shop and the journey ahead. There was a noticeable difference in their steps, in their tone, in their presence. The air between them was no longer heavy with unspoken words. It was filled with possibility. Emma started the car, and it sputtered back to life, almost as if it had been waiting for this night to happen first. Tyler smiled, glancing at her with something that resembled relief and hope. "Ready to go?" he asked. Emma nodded, feeling a sense of gratitude and joy she hadn't expected. "Ready?" she said, and for the first time in years, the ride didn't feel lonely. The highway stretched ahead, open and inviting, but the true journey had already begun. The journey of healing, of reconnecting, of rebuilding trust and love that had been tested by time and loss. That one night forced by circumstance had given them something far more valuable than convenience or comfort. It had given them each other, and as they drove into the sunrise, the world outside seemed brighter, not because the sun had changed, but because they had changed. The night in that quiet hotel had reminded them that even small detours, even accidents, could bring about moments of profound clarity and hope. Moments that lingered long after the hotel room was left behind. Moments that would shape the rest of their lives together.